Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about the Yano Geese case and similar cases where violence is involved, dead bodies, the media's coverage of those cases, the role of the citizen journalist or eye reporter in those instances. You're making the point about training, something that we've brought up several times before. But in the case of the eye reporter, nobody expects them to be trained journalists, but they take their cue
from the journalists.
From the mainstream
so
media.
they say, well, that is what sells. Yeah. That is what one of the internet media houses invites people to send the shot of the day. And it's interesting, the pictures people send. You know, you could see where people are in that regard. And while you will have lots of sunsets and picturesque things, a goat on top of a car and so on, there are people who send, you know, violent, accident, this and that, because they see that as a shot of the day. I suppose I'm speaking from my own personal preference, because everybody who sends a shot, that's their shot, and I can tell them whether their shot is nice or not. I think that we can differentiate between the eye reporter and the mainstream reporter, but in both cases, the lack of training. I think that stations like this one and all others should look to take it to the next level. We have the eye reporters trying to be eye reporters. Let's see how best we could give them the guidance. In other words, I'm inviting media houses to establish strings of eye reporters.
No, they're not trying. They are eye reporters. But you know, here's the thing. We've discussed this on previous shows.
Where
as well.
Are they? On the internet media?
The competing.
The eye reporters. Where them?
The role that the citizen journalist plays in competing with mainstream media. Now I see a lot of the mainstream news agencies and media houses like CNN, ABC, NBC inviting people, as you pointed out, about the online media houses, to send in video footage, to send in photographs, you know, and they are being used in mainstream newscasts because perhaps is a strategy by those news agencies and media houses, you know, to cut down on the competition that those people
pose. Are you talking about them or us?
Well, all of us.
Okay.
Because I think we're in the same boat. How does DBS compete perhaps with an online news agency that's producing instant news when you have to wait for a 12 o'clock or a 7 o'clock newscast?
By creating
to
your
get
news.
the details. Exactly. But you see, there again, the lack of training, the expertise is absent to allow you to do it. But it does not remove the instantaneous nature of.
So if I'm an editor, I have an eye reporter who I can see, you know, really loves doing that and sending me things every day. I would want to meet with that person and guide them to be better at what they're doing, because they have exhibited the most important thing, which is an interest.
Yeah, but you're missing an important point: competition.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying.
And the level of
and that's
competition.
why I'm saying create your story.
The level of competition, rather than going up, is going down. The standard I'm talking about, because we're talking about who can be more salacious, who can be more macabre, who can be more disgusting. That is what's going to sell. Who can be more graphic, because that seems to be what pulls and attracts
people
audiences. You understand?
Yeah, yeah. That's
so,
how we play into the gallery.
Right. So why would I now call my eye reporter and tell me, you know, you need to be more careful about how you shoot these things, and you need to be. Whereas the competition now.
No, I'm not saying about.
Let's go for the more graphic.
Yeah, yeah. No, I wouldn't say don't do that. I would say that apart from that, there are all those other things that can also be done. So news is not only about who died, accident, and the instant things that we can see. So you can go and make a news item by asking a farmer how the drought has affected his or her crops.
Except nobody interested in that.
Well, depending on how you tell it.
You understand?
It depends on how you tell it. You know, I bought a yam in the market this morning, and I paid an arm and a leg for it because the lady told me it's yam 20. Now I say yam 20 or yama twin. Yeah, yama twin. Now I was taken by the name because I know 20 is 20. You know, and I was asking her how the yam, and she started to explain the different types of yam that we have here. We have yam goguen, you know, all sorts of yam. And yes, I know I might have been told that I overpaid, but I got a lesson. I learned from her something that I can write and speak about, like right now.
So you paid for the lesson?
Yeah, I paid for the lesson.
Yam, you paid
Not
for the
for the yam, for the lesson.
Or for both?
For both.
Yeah, but are the media houses now in the same boat that the Carnival Bands Association or the Carnival Bands are, where we are now taking this thing as business and the dollar is what is guiding every decision that we make?
The dollar historically has guided every decision made in the media, except media that are state-owned and funded. I think what has happened is that historically the press, the reporters, the journalists fought to make editorial independent of advertising. But over the years, advertisers have become so much more important, and they have recognized the importance that they have started to use the power of advertising to influence editorial. And in that regard now, the media houses, the publishers, the managing editors who have to manage more than edit and who have to always look at the bottom line to avoid going into red, they would feel justified in intervening in editorial decisions, and would say, for example, there's a story about a product that is being returned because it was found to be infested. Don't touch that story because that's a big advertiser. We could lose that ad. It happens. The reporter long ago, 9 out of 10 would hit the roof and say, listen, you're interfering with, and would go to your press association who would make a big issue out of it. Today, I'm sorry, that type of protest can result in being interpreted as an invitation for dismissal.
Before we run out of time, I want to touch on this headline today. MP Speaker exchange inspires cottage industries. Guy Joseph, local Donald Trump. A photograph of the Speaker of the House and 2 mugs with a photo of Guy Joseph and his now famous words, "Since when? That's your role." The article focused a lot on...
What's Donald Trumpish about it?
Well, who's behind the mass production of those stickers and...
Oh, that's easy to find out. That's easy to find out. Whoever is selling it to you, ask them who they buy it from.
Yeah, but is it distracting from the main issue like we spoke about last week? And I think Rick in this article is talking about procedures, and he refers here to, again, the same distraction, to use his phrase, the weapons of mass distraction from the main issue. So the debate has now focused on, and still is focused on, who was wrong, who was right, who was wrong. Did the Speaker overstep his bounds? Did Guy Joseph act inappropriately by making the comments that he made, or challenging the Speaker, or suggesting that the Speaker become involved in elective politics so he could choose a side to sit on and engage in debate? Was he in fact engaging in debate when he made the comments that he made, or was he within his role as a Speaker in directing the MP to stick to the standing orders?
No, I think that it is one of the unfortunate realities that when elections are approaching, good sense gets thrown out of the window in many areas and many departments, even in the House. You know, House rules get thrown out of the window. I'm supposed to have an article in today's Voice addressing precisely that issue. I think that the whole question of developing an industry from out of Guy Joseph's foul-ups is a political stunt. It has its political objective. But then, on the other hand, I think one of the positives that has flown out of that is that it has shown me and you and all of us how creative our young people can be. I mean, a calypso or calypsos were done within a day or two, within hours. You had those, I don't know what's the new name for it, those on TV, little comic things cartoons that were made of animated cartoons made out of the issue. And when one looks at the way in which it was all sewn together, creativity, we have producers, we have minds. I mean, when we consider that young people could have taken this and do what they did just on their phones, I think it exposed the fact that we have that wide, large, deep, untapped resource of talent, IT talent, residing in the minds of our young people. And in this particular case, I'm told that some were paid to make and do those things. I have no problem with that. If you're going to pay them to put their skills to work, I mean, when young people hack the State Department and the Defense Department, they don't jail them, they hire them.
Oh, that reminds me, there's a story this week that made me think of you, because you've always been talking about this idea factory and encouraging the young people to use those technological inclinations, you know, to generate income and create employment for themselves. The ECCB, I'm told, is getting set, and also the government of St. Lucia is also getting set to host 2 seminars of IT fairs. And the ECCB is inviting teachers and students and other various stakeholders to this activity, this hackathon, to encourage young people to discuss issues facing, very real IT issues facing the private and public sector, and to come up with practical solutions, to develop apps that can address those solutions in very real time.
I want in on that. Yeah, not with a camera, or not with a phone, but I want to see.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're out of time, so we can't go too much in depth into this one.
Carnival chief our time, man.
But it's coming up in September, so that gives us plenty of time to look at it, maybe next week.
Okay.
You know, but this has been the Press Club. I want to thank you, Mr. Bousquet, for being here. As usual, always a pleasure having you and talking with you. A pleasure having you as well, watching us every weekend. We look forward to your comments, suggestions. We'll be making some changes to the program. We hope you like them, and we invite you to continue making recommendations and suggestions on how we can improve it. Until next week, I'm Kendall Burton on behalf of Will Bousquet, wishing you a safe, enjoyable carnival.